Here we are with another Extra Bases, Bristol and Booth. Jeremy Booth, Jason Bristol here as Hot Stove. I mean, they're starting to fill the stove because we have movement. The biggest story, Jeremy, on November 19th is that the Astros have traded Mauricio Dubón to the Atlanta Braves for Nick Allen. So, what is your biggest takeaway and your instant reaction from this deal?
Um,
Way to be on top of it. Way to be ready for me, Jeremy.
It's a baffling deal from a baseball perspective because Dubon plays pretty much everywhere. He has shown the ability to win a Gold Glove at two positions, right? He has he's done things for this team and this clubhouse, no matter how often he has to prove himself to help them win. And I'm a huge Dubon fan as far as what he does in the field. I've been a supporter of his from the beginning, and I think Houston was a good space for him. On the other side of it, you got a guy who can catch the ball and can't hit at all. Hit at all. I mean, like he may not be able to spell offense. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't understand. And I'm not trying. I've seen Nick Allen back to high school. I remember when people were going, "Ooh, Nick," and I was like, whew, and it's not because he can't catch it, because he can. It's the offensive part of the game is light. Now, if you're looking for a defensive replacement late in the game for Jeremy Pena, I guess if you're looking for somebody to come in and play second base when somebody else, I guess, but you had that and you had somebody that was productive offensively. So from a baseball standpoint, it doesn't match up to me. To me, this had to be a financial flexibility move. It had to be something to go ahead and figure out what the future really looked like and a way to get something back. Dana's always got a plan, and the Braves system he would know well, right, from having been over there even just a few years ago. But this one, from a baseball standpoint, I'm not a fan of.
It's very much a money thing when you consider how much Mauricio Dubon is making. He's making $5 million, and Allen last year was in the high sevens. So
minimum.
It's going to be a savings probably when you look at salaries next year of $3.5, $4 million maybe.
Well, who are you signing with that? Are you signing Kyle Tucker? Is that going to get it done? Are you bringing back Alex Bregman? Will that happen? Are you going to go ahead and sign Verlander? Ooh, that might do it. What I mean? I mean, it's like, what are we doing? And I'm saying that because if the Astros are moving that guy because of money, there better be other moves off the roster for the same reason. And if anything, I guess while we're talking through this, the signal is that there may be other moves just like that it may be going the other direction with how they've done it. And I'm not saying at all that that's the case because I don't know. And I'm not saying that the fan base should start freaking out but I am saying that if money is the move, which I agree, we agree on that because there's no reason for baseball for that to be a smart move, then what's the next one? Because there's got to be one coming that's next. That's significant if $5 million is what you're looking to save.
Well, the one before it was Ramon Urias being designated for assignment. Of course, he came over from the Orioles, a deadline deal in the summer. So now your two utility guys. I was looking up Nick Allen. Certainly you've seen more of him than I have, but he has experience at second base. He has experience at shortstop, and he has some experience at third base. So I'm guessing he plugs in as your utility guy, but you're right. I mean, there is no bat here whatsoever. I mean, none. Still, I think he was a finalist or top 3 for Gold Glove in the National League at shortstop this past season. Played 135 games, batted .221 with an OPS of .535. And he doesn't, 99 strikeouts in 135 games. .251 slug, .284 on base. Doesn't really get on base much either, but that's where you're at.
Yeah, as far as Urias is concerned, Pedro Leon was designated for assignment by the Orioles as well, so they can always just go back to their, I guess, original destinations or point of origination. So I don't know. I just I don't. I get it from what you're saying. I understand he can catch the ball. It's a cheaper option, but if you don't think Dubon is a better player, I got problems. I got concerns. Whether or not he fits right now as far as what you're trying to do and you're trying to get rid of the salary, well, that's different. That's a different move.
Well, they do have holes other places, so That's, is it $4 or $5 million worth of holes?
Oh,
Probably
okay.
not.
Yeah. I don't
Probably
know.
not.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Other news out of Astro World, Astroland is James Hicks was named the top pitcher in the Arizona Fall League. James Hicks, certainly a very small sample size because it was only 14 innings, but struck out 19 in 4 games. He made 2 starts, 6 hits, no runs. He was 2-0. That's half of the equation. The other half is what he did during the season at Corpus, 1-5 with a 6.36 run adjusted. No, I'm sorry, 5.59 ERA, and gave up 57 hits in 46 innings. Middle reliever type?
Yeah, I'm not one to disparage the fall league. It's changed a little bit, but the MVP of the Fall Stars game is an alumni of the Future Star Series, right? And that's Rowdy Rodriguez. There is still very good talent out there. It is a tier down as far as where guys used to be. When that league started, it was AAA guys. I mean, Piazza was in that league, and what I mean, a lot of guys were in that
Albert
league,
Pujols?
right, on their way up, as opposed to what it is today. Today it's more of an A-ball league, a little, it's double A. It's just it's working through stuff, and again, not putting it down at all. It's some place that that clubs will send their prospects, and they should. But he's without question a reliever. Like when I got a look at him, and I watched him, watched some clips on him, and got a feel for what he was doing. I kept having that song in my head. When I saw his face, he's a reliever, So I mean, that's what I got. And look, he may be a good one, but I think you got a lot to prove if you're in Corpus, with a six, and basically, and more hits than innings pitched. I do think, if I remember right, he had a K for every inning he threw too,
Yeah, that's
46
about
and
right. Yep.
46. So that just says to me that it's going to be a velocity. It's one or the other. It's not a full package. He's going to have to manipulate the baseball and turn around and get soft contact and go one time through the lineup. It's fine.
And we'll
Maybe.
see, and we'll see where he starts in 2026. Based on a strong showing in a small sample size, he could start at AAA, but he could also go back to AA and have some success there. He's only as I'm reading this, just the third AFL hurler or pitcher to finish with 0 runs allowed in 14 or more innings.
So is he how old is he? 30?
No,
31?
is he 30? You just said it's an A ball league. You couldn't send somebody.
24?
He's
I'm gonna say he's
24,
24.
Jeremy.
Yeah, he's 24. So he should be in AAA already. Period. And think about the minor leagues is that as they eliminate levels, right, and everything's condensed as far as that time, he really should be far beyond where he is. And that's great if he's turning it on. But if you're 24 years old pitching in that league, okay, Rowdy Rodriguez, I believe, was 21. That's the differential, right? I mean, Rowdy was here in 2022. He was 18 years old, 23, 24. He's probably 21 years old now. So when you look up what he's doing, again, not to take away from what he did out there, because it's still a very good run of 14 innings. It's not a huge indicator of overall success when the rest of the body of work says he's okay, and we're talking about a lens here, that enforces accelerated development. If this is the minor leagues of old and he's an A ball at 24, I'm not asking him many questions. Right now, he should be in AAA with the way this goes, especially with the Astros pitching needs. Should already be there.
Let's move on to this Shohei Ohtani. I was thinking about
Who?
this. Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. If for some reason Shohei Ohtani tomorrow announced his retirement, is he a Hall of Famer in your mind?
No,
No,
no, he's not. Um,
he
I
would
don't.
be for me.
Yeah, he's not for me. I think that the years he's had we're getting there. I think 3 or 4 more years of what he's done puts him in there, regardless of how they finish.
How many home runs do
Um,
you think he's had in his career?
I'm gonna say
Stateside,
yeah. That's all. I'm saying he's 250.
280.
Yeah. So I mean, 3 or 4 more years of 40 puts him at 3 years of 40 puts him at 400. That's enough today, especially with the way the pitching is and the way that the approach is had. I still like to see 500, but he's also been a two-way guy. What I mean? There's other factors involved there. I think if you really want to make him a Hall of Famer, you don't let him start anymore. I think he's a closer, and I think he DHs, and I think that's what he does, right? And if David Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame, then the benchmarks for Ortiz are the same for Ohtani, except for the discount you would give him for pitching,
Why
right?
Ortiz? Why are you using Ortiz as a
Ortiz is a
benchmark?
DH,
Okay.
and so Ohtani's a DH as a hitter. So unless the pitching is Hall of Fame worthy, then he's a hitter and goes in the Hall of Fame. And so if you is that at least that's what's going to carry him.
What about
But you get
Edgar? I mean, certainly
Martinez.
the average. Yeah, I mean the average is
Yeah,
different, but
Edgar Martinez is a different type hitter than Ortiz, but Otani's a bomber. He's a slugger that's dangerous, right? I mean, that entire approach is if you miss anywhere near the barrel, it's gone, right? And so that's the type of guy that for me, he's getting in the Hall of Fame. It's as a hitter. Um, and it'll be, the pitching, he gets a discount on the numbers because he is pitching. He does get a discount there. But I still think he's as a hitter, and the numbers are, 4 years away at 40 is 160. That gets him in.
I think he's already there. Four MVPs, four MVP awards, and
Nope.
one second place finish, a top five Cy Young fourth, and a Rookie of the Year.
Nope.
Okay.
Here's why. Because he's playing on the
162 games, average of 45 homers, 106 runs driven in, 282, and an OPS of 957.
great. Do it for 5 more years. I mean, he's got it nine. He's got a
Doesn't need
700.
five. He doesn't need 5 more
If
years.
he does for 5 more years, he's got 200 more home runs. He's at 480. Who argues? Like Gary Sheffield's got 509 home runs. He's not in the Hall of Fame. Okay. So when I look at the overall body of work, I see a guy who is the best player on earth without question. Got it. I see a guy who is one of the most electric personalities as far as moving a crowd on earth. I understood. Okay. But Ichiro Suzuki came over here and had to still get, did he get to 3,000 hits here? Got close, right?
No, he
Got
got
3,000 hits.
3,000.
Yeah. And he had what, 2,000 over there? 5,000 or something career hits? Like you're talking about bodies of work that is humongous achievement. And he's not there yet for me. But if he does what his averages are for the next 4 years, you said 45 home runs? Okay, so 4 years of that is 180 home runs. He's got 280 right now. That's 460. Anyway, anything past 425, 430 and up because of the pitching, automatic. And the MVP thing, as much as I am not taking that away from him, I mean, you got to earn that, and good for him, right? He's still playing on the best team that you can possibly think of. He's got how many MVPs in LA?
He has four, I thought.
He hasn't been in LA 4 years yet. He didn't win one. He won one in
Sorry,
Anaheim,
you're
didn't he?
right. Sorry, you're right. You're right. You're right. Sorry, I was distracted for a second there.
It's okay. He got one in Anaheim, didn't he? I think he got one there.
He has one in Anaheim and three with the
Here's
Dodgers.
the Dodgers,
Sorry
right?
about
So I
that.
mean, so he leaves Anaheim to me is more impressive because well, they're Anaheim, right? So to turn around and carry that team and become an MVP there is important. And you come to the Dodgers, and I'm not saying it's less of an accomplishment. I'm saying he's got a much different support cast around him.
Two-way player. Best two-way
Discount.
players you've scouted, Jeremy. The best two-way players you've scouted.
Uh Man, really haven't been that many. And not enough to resonate. I mean, Otani's a two-way player, but he's a DH, right? So he's
You don't
not.
count him then.
Yeah, I mean, I do, but I don't. He's
That's
not
interesting. I
playing.
never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I mean, he's not playing the field every day and then becoming a pitcher. The guys that have done that don't make it. And so if you're talking about the best, the amateur world is not what we're discussing here. The
Hmm.
guys in the amateur world don't make it. Now, you listen to travel baseball, everybody will tell you they can do it. Every guy's a two-way guy. He's a pitcher and a shortstop. No, he's not. You know. So when you get to the big leagues, he is in rarefied air. The only other person I obviously never saw him play, which wasn't old enough to remember, it was Bobby Darwin, right? Bobby Darwin was a two-way guy with the Twins and the Dodgers, I think, or it might have been the Twins and the Angels. It was Twins and the Dodgers.
I remember him
Yeah, he
from
had
my
25.
baseball cards.
Right, he had 25 home runs and pitched at the same time. You know what I mean? Like that type of guy. Babe Ruth, even Babe Ruth was a DH or a right fielder. You know what I mean? So
Well, I mean, in our time, certainly they haven't done it at the same time, but Adam Lowen, no?
no, do they do it? No. Doing it at the
So that
same
doesn't
time means
count.
you're a
Rick
two-way guy.
Ankiel.
Doesn't count. Two-way
Okay.
guy. Two-way guy means you're doing it both at the same time. And Keel is probably the best conversion guy that's
Yes.
been out there to go from pitching to hitting, right? That's really hard to do. Hitters to pitchers happens much more often. Matt Bush, there was a guy with the Rays years ago, Salas, and he's an obscure guy, but it happens much more often to go the other way. It's hard to go with Juan Salas, I think his name was. It's hard to go with it's hard to do the hitter to or pitcher to hitter.
Well, it's very interesting because the reason I thought about this, and then with Otani, was that one of the more recent guys in the amateur space, college, who there was a big debate over where he would ultimately wind up, Reggie Crawford.
Yeah, I like Reggie. Good
Yeah,
player.
he was not added to the Giants 40 man, so he's subject to the Rule 5 draft.
He's been hurt a lot.
He has.
Another guy was Brendan McKay.
Yep.
Remember him?
Yep.
Um,
I
Tampa
actually
took him.
um I actually wrote down a list, Jeremy, of some of the better
Oh.
ones because do
Is
you
that
know this
Ricky?
book?
Yeah, is that Ricky on the
Love
front of
this
that?
book.
Is
Huh?
that Ricky? Is that Ricky Henderson on the front of that
Ricky
book?
Henderson is on the cover,
That's interesting.
along with Rick Monday, because the Baseball America draft book, they've broken up the cover into prospects of the decades.
Sure.
Rick Monday, Rick Monday from Monday, Rick Monday from the 60s. Obviously, he was the first pick in the first draft, 1965.
65,
Then
yeah.
you have Ricky Henderson in the 1970s, which
Yeah.
really such it's amazing that he was drafted where he was and how quickly he got to the big leagues.
Agreed.
Then in the 1980s, you have Barry Bonds, 1990s, Alex Rodriguez, and then the 2000s, Bryce Harper. So on this cover, you have three number one overall picks, and the other two
Well,
are Ricky was like a third round pick, I think.
fourth, I
Fourth.
think, but fourth or fifth. But I'll say this: Alex Rodriguez and Josh Hamilton might be the two guys of my era of athleticism, which was obviously nowhere near what those guys did. Um, there might be the two guys that ever put on uniforms in my era. That was insanity what they could do.
Josh
It-
Hamilton is one of the could be arguably pound for pound the greatest baseball player of our generation.
yeah, I mean,
Next to Otani, given his ability, what he went through, and how quickly he was able to come back and do it on a big stage.
yeah, and when we saw CC last, I guess 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago,
You
last
saw
week.
CC?
Carl Crawford.
Oh, Carl Crawford.
Yeah,
Sorry.
when we saw CC, he looks a little different than he did back in the early 2000s when we were
Dude, I
together.
didn't even recognize him when he walked by me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was him.
But I
Of course, I
was
wasn't
reminded.
expecting him there either. I wasn't certain. I didn't know he was going to be there. You may have, but
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in a while.
yeah.
But he was a very good player as well, but he wasn't anywhere near what Josh could do. And A-Rod, Alex's thing, the only guy in the way of Alex was his attitude because the tools were ridiculous. Like it was insane what he could do. I think I've told you a story before, but for those of you on air, I will say this story. In 1996, I was in the ballpark in Anaheim. I'm not going to say why. I was on the field. I was in the ballpark. Okay, and the game's over. I spent some time talking to Alex, because just a little bit, saying hi, goodbye, talking to people. Went back up to top to watch the game. Well, Eduardo Perez, who will remember this play, is playing third base for the Angels at the time, and Alex Rodriguez. And keep in mind, this is the Mariners. This is like Tino Martinez. This is Joey Cora. This is A-Rod. This is Edgar Martinez. This is Buhner, Griffey. I mean, you get the point. This is the Mariners, okay? And so A-Rod hits a one hopper at Eduardo Perez at third base, like just a rocket, one hopper, and it hits Perez's glove and drops right in front of him. And Perez picks it up and throws an absolute bullet missile across the diamond, and A-Rod beat it by a step. And I was like, ooh boy, it was just, and it's not that I hadn't seen him before, but I hadn't seen him in there before. And so when that happened, he showed the ability that he had that many people forget is that how fast he could really run. He was an 80 runner across the board. So, but
No, 80?
oh, it was an eights. It was eights everywhere. It was Ray Montgomery told me when we played against him in AAA, he wanted to stand up and clap. It was a joke. it was absolutely insane. So anyway, I'm looking forward to hear what you got. But A-Rod is on the cover is oh my, he could have been the best of anybody.
Yeah. So I was running down the best two-way prospects, pitchers, hitters entering the draft. And really, it seems though the sweet spot for two-way prospects, and granted, for the most part, I only looked into the first round, but some other ones came up in my mind. And I think the sweet spot was probably 94 through 2005 or six. I think that was really the sweet spot. 2007, you could potentially make a a case for, but here's some names. I guess I should work my way back. You think? You don't care. 2007, Joe Savory.
I care, but Joe Savory was a pitcher in pro ball.
Yeah, but he
Okay,
actually started out as a hitter. Or no, sorry, he started out as a pitcher. Then he went to hitting only because he started out like 0 and 10, something like that, 1 and 11, and then he went back. He did hitting and then went back to pitching.
secret about scouting, Jason, is when you draft a guy. Um, let's use Matt Bush as an example, who was the first overall pick years ago. When you use Matt Bush and you think he's going to be a shortstop, the fallback role is X. There's plenty of guys like that you say he's going to be a shortstop, but he's not really going to be a shortstop. We're going to run him back out there, and a year later we're going to let him pitch, right? And so we're make him a pitcher. Happened to Steven Randolph, who's a guy who pitched for 19 years. He went out as a hitter with the Yankees, and believe me, he reminds me almost every day. He went out as a hitter with the Yankees, but he wasn't. He was a pitcher. Savory's another one of those guys. You let him hit, you let him get out of his system, and he'll go pitch.
All right, so we're running out of time, but here's some of the guys that on my list. 2007, Joe Savory, Michael Maine.
Okay.
2006, Kyle Drabek, because he was
Yeah,
also a shortstop. 2004, Matt Bush. 2003, Nick Markakis.
that's a good one.
I skipped 2005, but Brian Bogusevic, we know
That's
him.
also that's a good one.
2002, Adam Lowen, Sergio Santos, Ben Fritz. 2001, John Van Benschoten, who was, I think, the number 4 overall pick. Question between outfield, first base, or excuse me, pitcher and first base. Mike Stodulka in 2000. Clint Johnston in 98. 97 was J.J. Davis.
Yeah.
Rick Ankiel was also part of that draft, although
Yep.
he was all pitcher then. 2008, I skipped, but Aaron Hicks was
Yeah, so
also
we
a
took
highly regarded pitcher.
so we took Hicks in high school, and I will tell you then either ways. I was obviously a twin at the time. I was either way, and we talked about it both ways, but we settled on the bat for the reasons that we did.
1995, Todd Helton. 94, Matt Smith, who from the state of Oregon, who
Oregon.
eventually wound up playing college football.
It's
Brian
my-
Buchanan, 1989, well, 1992, Chris Roberts out of Florida State, 1993, Brooks Kieschnick.
Now that one's one. That one you got.
1992, Chris Roberts.
Okay.
1991, out of Howard Junior College and New York City, Frankie Rodriguez, huge JUCO star, both ways, and then eventually settled into a pitching role. I forgot Scott Bryant in 1989, along with John Olerud,
Yeah.
and
I'll give you
perhaps
one.
the greatest one of them all, Dave Winfield.
Yeah, and I'll give you another one. Andrelton Simmons.
Yeah, but he wasn't subject to the draft, though.
Yeah, he was. He signed out of Western Oklahoma.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Jeremy got me.
Second round Braves. But I'll say this: every single one of those guys, except for Kieschnick, went out as one or the other.
Well, no, Frankie Rodriguez did a little bit of both. I looked it up.
Okay, let me rephrase. In the big leagues, how many of those guys did both at the
You
same
meant
time?
big leagues. Okay, I
At the
got
same
you.
time. How many guys did both at the same time?
I got you.
Because Kieschnick did, but how many of those other guys did both at the same time? Anyway, just saying.
All right.
Makes what Otani's doing that much more special to your point, so he gets a discount on Hall of Fame because of that time.
And that's why he should be in the Hall of Fame if he was to retire today. Anyways. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for Extra Bases. Leave your comments if you remember any of those guys, or you can think of other ones. I mean, I just did a quick look. But as always, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care, everybody.